Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back. So today I'm going to make a version on the box that Anne-Marie made with the Delightful Birds A New Season. So I'm going to make a box similar to this, only hopefully this video will go slightly better than the one when I made that box there. So the Delightful Birds A New Season, so you do get, it is a concept card kit really. So you get the decoupage and the cards to do a thrush, an owl, which is what I'm going to do today, the swallows, the blue tits, which are gorgeous. I made my sister a birthday card with those, and then the, I think they're finches, green finches, something like that. So you get 2 of each card, you get the decoupage, you get an insert, you get an envelope. And that's for all 12 cards, but as always with it being a concept card kit, I'm not going to use it that way today. Okay, so I'm going to start by bringing in my trimmer, and I'm going to have to use some pearl card from Crafter's Companion for this, just purely because the card that I used on the other box, I haven't got any more of that left, so I'm going to make do. So I need to cut, so I'm going to cut a lid from the yellow, and this lid is going to be 8 inches by 8 inches. And obviously there's plenty there for me to use another time. And then I've got a sort of pink colour. And it's not as pink as this, but it will look fine against it. So this one is the base, and because I'm doing a 2-inch deep box, I'm going to be cutting that to 10 by 10, and that's why I needed the A3. So I definitely need to order some A3 Adorable Scoreable. So that will be in my future for sure. So I also need an insert to go in my card to build my card on. So this I'm going to use white card. I'm just going to grab a piece of white card. I didn't have that to hand. And for this, so I'm going to do a 1/2 inch sort of step down. So it needs to be 7 by 7. But I want it just to be a fraction smaller, so I'm just going to cut. It's not quite 1 notch, but it's close enough to it. So, and that's just under the 7 on both sides. Okay, so that's those. And then the next thing I'm going to want is let's cut that in half first of all. Sorry if I knocked the camera there. So that is going to be 5 3/4. So we'll cut those there, and I need some gold card. So for this, I'm going to cut this at 2 notches under the 6, I think. So we were 5 3/4. Yeah, so 2 notches under the 6 square. And if I can, I will do that twice. That's perfect that side. And that's that. Okay, the other thing I'm going to be using, although I won't cut it now, is this Adorable Scoreable printed paper. So sorry, I think the video did cut out a little bit there. So I've had to go back a few stages. So this paper is the Adorable Scoreable Pattern Pack Navy Blossoms. It does look like quite a lot of dark colours, but there are quite a lot of these pastel-y ones in there as well. So I'm not going to cut that now, but that I will be using on my lid, on the trim. Okay, so I've popped the middle out of my card. I'm just going to bring that back in, and I've also got a circle die. This is the Carnation Craft one. I have picked one that is a little bit bigger than the hole, just purely to give myself a little bit of wiggle room. If I pick one the exact size, then I have to make sure it's exactly in the right place, but that just gives me a little bit of space to be able to maneuver. Okay, so I'm going to take my Miri card first of all, and I'm going to pop this piece on, and I'm just going to get that, let me just check that gold card fits nicely on there as well. Yeah, it does. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this piece on just where my layers are, and then with a pokey tool I'm just going to go around the inside like so. That gives a little imprint on where that circle is. So I'm going to grab a little bit of tape. I'll save that bit for the next one, and then I'm just going to put this over this circle that I've marked as evenly as I can, as central as I can. And I'm going to grab my little plates, and we're going to cut into there. I think that's probably the smoothest plate I have. I just don't want any indentations, although even if there are, most of it's going to be covered up anyway. It's just a little border. And if you wanted to, you could completely like cut a square out of it, gut it. I chose not to do it that way. We've not got any imprintations on there, so that's perfect. So let me pop those plates out of the way. And then I'm going to do the same thing on here. So I'm going to bring this gold on. Just going to make sure we are in the middle. And then I'm going to go around again with my pokey tool. It's just going to give me that little circle there. This time the circle is going to be exactly the same size. So, but again, I just need to be in that ballpark area because I have given myself that extra couple of millimeters to wiggle room. So I'm going to bring in my big plates this time just because it is a bigger piece of card. Let's see which is the, I'll look for something that's not too marked. Actually, what I could do is just bring in a little piece of paper or card. Use a bit of coloured paper because that's what I've got to hand. Let's just bring that over. You can see the dog got it from in through the door. And the only reason I'm just putting a piece of paper in there is I'm trying to limit the amount of, because this pearlized card, because when it goes through with the pressure it can pick up the marks of whatever's on your plate. There's not going to be a big problem if it does, because a lot of it's going to be covered up, but ideally I don't want that. And you can see we've just got a bit coming through here, but like I say, that is going to be covered up, so we won't notice it when it's done. So I'm just going to bring my scoreboard back and just put those score lines back in. So when I did this with the Adorable Scoreable on the last one, I didn't have this problem. The score line stayed in perfectly. But what I would say is it's worth doing, just so that if you're going to do it the same way I have, and you want to make sure your circle's in the middle, it just gives you that point of reference to put your layer on. Makes it a bit easier for you. Okay, so the other thing I want to do, I'm just going to bring that trimmer back in, and I have, she says, buried, so it's difficult to see. So I've got a piece of, this is Crafter's Companion acetate, and I'm going to cut this to 5 by 5. So that's going to well cover my circle. It's going to give me plenty of space to put some adhesive on. I'm going to be using super sticky, but it's just going to give me a good piece to do that. Okay. So I'm going to do my layers first of all, and then I will assemble it. So with this sorry, I just got a bit of tape stuck to me. With this acetate, it does have a coating on it, so it's just going to give it a little scratch in the corner just to see which side that's on. Must be that side, yeah it is. And this is just to keep it nice, and you can tell if it's got a coating on because it's just slightly cloudy, but once you take this off it's perfectly clear. Okay, so, and I'm going to bring in some red liner tape. I'll use this one, I think we'll use, and I'm just going to pop some on each corner or each side. And this tape is going to be hidden by all the layers, so the reason why I'm putting this on now, so if you forget it's not a problem, you can put it on underneath, but the only thing is that you're then going to see the workings. But if I put this in now, this is going to be hidden by all of my other layers, so that's why I'm going to put this in now. Just give that a burnish down, just makes it easier to get that off. And then it's just removing all of this sticky, and I'm trying not to touch it in the middle because it will leave fingerprints. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of tacky glue, and I'm just going to go around this circle roughly, just as an extra bit of glue, and then we're just going to pop that over. I'm just going to give that a good press down so that that sticks, and you can tell when it sticks because that glue just goes a little bit translucent on the tape. Not so much bothered about this, that's just there as an extra bit of security. If you don't want to do that, it's not going to affect the actual project at all. You can just leave it. Okay, so then this piece here, so we've got our gold, this is going to go over the top. I'm going to use my all-purpose, so just get that unscrewed, just because that gives me a little bit of wiggle time. And we'll just pop that over. I'm hoping that should stick to that acetate perfectly well. And you can see just where I've cut this here, I've just not quite been on the mark there, but it's not going to affect anything because when this goes over, because I've cut that smaller, that circle a little bigger, you know, that's you know, it's forgiven because it's not going to be seen. And from the back you don't see very much workings either, so you will see a little bit of a circle from this, but that still looks a lot neater than having you know, a circle that's in the wrong place if you've done it a bit smaller. Okay, so then again with this one, and I'm going flat with this topper on this box, I'm using my all-purpose, but I'm just putting a little bit of tacky glue around the edges. Just be careful with all-purpose and your mirror because it can take the finish. I do tell you every time, just in case I get somebody new watching, and that's just going to go nicely over the top. So I'm going to leave that to dry for a second, and I'm going to bring this piece in here. I'm going to give this a burnish down, just again because it's going to give me that clear idea of where my layers are going. Okay, and the other thing I'm going to do just at this point is to cut straight across these corners here. That's just going to make that easier once we pop that into our lid. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start to build up on this inside. So again, I've got this mat here. So let's go ahead. I'm just checking that that does fit in there quite nicely, and it does. And we'll just put some all-purpose all over the back of that. String, and then that can just pop in to there. Just give that a really good little press down, and you need to well, you can do it either way, I suppose, but ideally you want to be doing it with these tabs facing up, because this is going to go underneath like so. So that's where you're going to have the depth, and these edges will help with keeping that depth even for you. So that's why I'm doing it this way. So again, I'm going to use my all-purpose. I'm not going to worry too much with my tacky glue on the edges on this one, because it pretty much goes to the edges and you won't see it anyway. So I'm just going to pop that in, give that a good press down, and just put that nice and straight. Okay, so then this piece here, this time I'll use my tacky glue. And I'm just going to pop that into the center. And this piece here, this is just purely the back of the card. You saw me cut that up. Okay. So I've got all of the decoupage on here. I'll put all the tabs on the back. So I can just go ahead, pop it out and start popping it on. Hopefully I've got enough tacky glue in this pot to be able to keep that, because you know I like to put a bit of tacky glue on the back of these tabs. Okay. And it's decoupage, so you always start with the largest piece first and then work your way round. So we've got our little owl and the bush there, and you've kind of got the actual circular design to help keep you on the straight and narrow. So I think this one is the next one. Sorry if you heard that, that was George being a little bit barky. So again, a little bit of tacky glue, and I'm using the 1mm pads on this. So just because, I mean, you can do it, you probably would get away with the 2mm, but I think on the other one it looked good, so that's why I stuck with it. So if it ain't broke, you don't fix, you know, ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say. So these are all these little pads, and you get a good amount of decoupage on these. You know, I think it's the same as their decollage. They always give you quite a lot of dimension with them. I sort of don't usually use all of the decoupage. You know, me and Mum used to have quite a few discussions about this, because she used to love just piling that decoupage on, and sometimes I think less is more. And also sometimes you can, if you can use it elsewhere, you get more for your money. I think because I used to do the shows for a little while, making cards and things, quite a while ago now, but I'm sort of still in that mindset of making the most out of my kit. So we're just going round, just keeping on adding all this dimension on. And this is his little head. And if you wanted to use your 3D glue gel, you know, obviously there's other options out there, isn't there, for us to use, but it's whatever you're comfortable with. I would say if you're going to use 3D glue gel though, it's worth doing that beforehand and letting that dry before you're putting this in here, because if you are going to stick it into the box like I'm going to do this time, you know, if anything slips, you can't get in to just give it a little poke to move it, sort of thing. And just keeping on going around, just all these layers. Like I say, there are loads there, you do get lots. And we've got our flowers, and I might not put all these on. But we'll see. It just takes quite a while to get all these, even when you're not sort of putting the pads on. Just getting the backs off takes so much time, doesn't it? I mean, it's nice and relaxing when you sat at home doing this, but when you're doing a video, you sort of just get a bit conscious of the time it takes. Like, sorry, that's George again, he's a bit anxious because his mum's gone out. Yeah, on the video that I did before, I think there was about 45 minutes just putting pads on and taking the backs off, so that's why I put the pads on beforehand, just to try and speed things along a bit. But I think also when I'm filming, you sort of try and be a bit more careful sometimes, and it slows you down. But I'm not great with fiddly little things like this anyway. At the moment my hands are not great, but it's just one of those things, I guess. And in the garden at the moment we've got, I don't know if I said before, we've got some little blue tits nesting. And it's a nesting box that my nephew made like ages ago, like sort of one of his first projects really. Actually that's the wrong bit, that should go there. And he sort of, I mean, bless him, it's solid wood, you know, it's like solid, so I thought, oh, I'm never going to get that on the wall. I'd have to put about half a dozen screws in it just to get it to stick. But I put it on top of the shed, and nobody's shown any interest in it beforehand, but for some reason this year we've got a little family of blue tits nesting in there, which is nice. I think there's quite a few in there given by the noise. We sort of noticed them before they hatched, and then like this last week and a half, I guess, we've had mum and dad coming backwards and forwards feeding them. So you hear them sort of squeaking when mum comes in, when mum or dad comes in with food. And the mum is a little bit more nervous than the dad. The dad's just like, oh, we've got to get this done, we've got to get him fed, got to get on to the next bit. So he's in and out, and he doesn't mind if we sort of stand and watch out there. But the mum is a little bit more nervous, and she won't go in if we are standing at a certain place, you know. So she is a bit more nervous of us, but hopefully they should start to fledge soon, because apparently we did Google it and they don't stay babies very long. I think it's usually within about 3 weeks. So you know, we can't wait to see when they come out really. Okay, so where's this one going to go? Is this one? Yeah, this one. And then so what's this one? That's that little one there. Like I say, you can put as much or as little on as you please. Forgive my clumsy hands. Let's see if we've got any tweezers. Where's that gone now? I'm not great with tweezers either because it's the gripping of them. And I know you can get those ones that grip, but it's still a bit of an issue for me. So I think this one is up here and just put that into there. Down like so. Okay, so I've used all of the decoupage on there. That was from the other one, so that is there. So we'll leave that there just to take, and then what we can do is assemble this lid. So I'm going to cut straight down this score mark and across. So I'm taking my wedge out, and then on the other side I'm doing it the other way, and then straight down that edge and across. I have to tell myself because at one time I went wedge that way. That is disaster, friends, I tell you. Okay, so let's just get rid of those. So I'm going to give that a little burnish down again. Burnish down. And we'll come across. Let's do those. And my tabs. And I'm going to be using the tacky glue. I like tacky glue for my boxes. You've got choices. You've got tacky glue. You've got 3D, your all-purpose glue. You've got red liner tape, glue gun. You know, however you want to assemble it. So I sort of pop my tacky glue on. I've got some of these little clips. I think they might be material clips. I had them a long time, very long time. I talk about 20 years. That's why there's two the same and one different. One's just like a little paper clip thing, which works just as well. I think originally I used to have about 10 of these. But like I say, I've had them a long time. Moved 2 or 3 times. And unfortunately I have lost some. I'll probably find them when I'm in another box. There's so many boxes of things here. I am starting to sort out. Let's see, let's put that onto there. Just make sure that sits nicely. And sometimes just giving it that little minute to go tacky just gives it that better stick. So okay, so that is our lid. Okay, so what I am going to do is just pop a little bit of tacky glue on the outside here and on the outside here. I'm just going to do it on the 2 sides just so that I don't get in too much of a mess. And then I'm just going to pop this in. Oops. Like so. And then I'm just going to hold that against there. So because I've taken just that little 1mm off, it just takes that little tightness away. And it doesn't even need to be 1mm as such. It just needs to be just that tiny little bit that takes... Because what happened with... Let me see if I can show you on this other one. This other one, I did it exactly to size. And on this side, I don't know if you can see, I've just got a slight bulge where it's tight. So just by taking just like a fraction, tiny little dot of a bit off, it just makes it sit in there nicely. The only thing is that you will have to glue it. Okay, so I'm not sure if that's not glued quite so so well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble my base, but I'm going to stand that on there so that that's touching. I may need to do the same on the other side, but we'll bring in our base and we can be going ahead and making that up. So I wanted a 2-inch deep box, just I think this nice sort of size for putting something in, like a scarf, or you know, if you're doing a baby box you can get little hat booties, that sort of thing. And you could even, with this size box, sort of make a slightly smaller than 6-inch card and pop that in with your gift as well, so they've got both. So again, just exactly the same as the lid, cutting straight down that line that we've scored. Pop that out, and I'm just going to neaten that up just a tad. Okay, and then I'm just going to turn it round. Do the same on that side. Okay, you can see I've not cut that straight. Okay. So then exactly the same as we did before, so I'm just going to pop a good amount of this tacky glue on, just bringing it up, making sure this top edge is flush, and then I'm popping a little clip on. If you haven't got these clips, pegs work perfectly well, so you know, there's no need to go to great expense, just steal a couple of things off your washing line. Paper clip would even do it, you know, so it's not necessary to have a specific tool to do this. And just again sticking that glue in, bringing it round and gluing that down. Just if any bits pop up, then just move your clip along. Let's see how that's doing now. So that's doing a lot better. So let's just do the same on the other side. Put that in and then just leave it to stand. The actual weight of the gravity of it will stick that down. So that looks like that has done. So that's perfect. So the other thing I need to get off this sheet, you do get little sentiments. This one has a "with love," so we're going to be using that. So I'm going to bring my box in, pop that lid on, and like you can see already that's starting to look really good. So I've put the 1mm pads on here, but I want it to be slightly deeper, so I'm just gonna... Okay, so guys, I'm beginning to think that this video is doomed because the computer just randomly shut off, so I'm not sure if it was taping up to that point. I had checked over a couple of minutes before, and it looked like it was, so until I go back and look at the footage, I'm not going to be sure. But I've basically just taken the sentiment off the sheet with this owl on. I had put 1mm pads on. I'm now just going to change that to a deeper one, which is the Crafter's Companion. I'm not going to do the decoration of the sides like I did on the other box. I'll tell you what I did, but I'm not going to do it just purely because I think this video is doomed, and I'm not going to push it anymore. So I'm just going to pop this on. So it's just got "with love." I think I'll go down here with this one. I'm not going to put any gems on. So I mean, it looks like a perfectly nice box anyway because it's, you know, it's embossed all the way around. let me just bring that original box back in. So what I did for these bits here, with this adorable scoreable, I cut it at 2 notches under 1 inch by 3 notches under 6 inches. And then because I didn't want to have to do a gold mat, I used this Spectrum Noir metallic gold nugget pen just to go around the edges. So basically I just picked the brush, this is not the same one, but just pick the brush end and just go around the edges and colour those up. Let's do it properly, come on. So if you hold the actual pattern side away from you, if you do happen to skid off, you go on the inside, and then you get that lovely little gold edge. It's barely visible to the eye, but when you put it on something, it just makes it pop just that little bit. Okay, so but I'm not going to do that today just because I think this video is doomed. It's doomed. If it's not the actual camera, it's the computer, so something's going on. But what I'll do is I'll check and see what I've got. Hopefully it was recording right up to when it went, but I will put a picture of this up on my Pinterest and on my Facebook page. This one's already there. I did pop it up and explain that I had a few problems with the technical side of things. It's not my strong point, I have to be honest. But you know, touch wood, most of the time it is okay. It just has these odd little blips, and it might be because I removed my camera to take a picture of something else off of the actual rig, so it could be that I've made a connection not quite as good as it was before. But I'll go through and check everything. Hopefully we'll be okay for next time. I do want to do something with the Sentimentally Yours Phil Martin, the new dies that I've got, so it's probably going to be that next time, although I haven't quite got a project in my head yet, but we'll see what comes up. If not, then I will just default back to Crafter's Companion, because it's easy just to pick up a die and make a die with their bits and pieces. But hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for all the support and the messages. I really do appreciate them. Take care of yourselves. See you next time. Bye bye.